In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what we call the Hardgainer'S Playbook. Essentially, a lot of the things that go into the game time nutrition system for helping undersized athletes to not be undersized anymore. And so there's a lot of things that go into this, guys. It's not just a blanket meal plan that you probably need, right? You probably are using things that are getting you started. You're following people and getting free advice. You're watching recipe videos on TikTok and Instagram. Maybe you're tracking your calories every once in a while. Maybe you're using an AI app to scan your food, or even like chat GPTing a plan or your calories. Yet, if nothing is sticking and you're not getting to the end of the goal, you're just on and off, you start making progress and it falls back, something's got to change. And usually it's because it's not just one thing, right? You don't just need a meal plan. You don't just need to know your macros. Application is something that involves a bunch of different things, not just a meal plan on paper, not specific foods, and not just how many grams of protein and how many calories you need. You have to fit this into your lifestyle and be able to do it long enough to actually see the results, but then be able to keep the results, guys. So going into the things that we found over the past decade with working with over 1,000 athletes, specifically within the baseball space, that have been hard gainers or undersized, and you're talking to one of them, right? Genetically, I was not meant to be a huge guy. I now sit right now about 215 pounds. I've been as high as 240 pounds. And back in college, what really sparked the genesis of why Game Time Nutrition exists is I went from an undersized 168 to 220 pounds, put on 52 pounds in 1 year. And so these principles have been fine-tuned by myself and then with our athletes and our company for the past decade as we've gone through this process. So getting into some of these core principles, guys. Calorie surplus first. Easy enough. On paper, you probably know that you need to be eating more calories if you want to gain more muscle mass and weight. You probably think that you're eating a lot right now. You're not eating enough. And that's just the reality. If you're not gaining the muscle mass or the weight that you want to be, somewhere along the line, you are not in a calorie surplus, right? That high level is the only rock that really needs to happen in order for you to gain weight on the scale. And so sustained growth consistently requires a 300 to 500 calorie above maintenance intake. The thing with this, though, is it's not just doing that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days out of the week, because it's the average of being in a surplus over the course of the weeks and the months. So if you've got 1 or 2 days, even 3 days, that could be setting you back during the week because you're playing a game, you're burning more calories, you're not intaking as much, that could be the thing that's setting you back into a maintenance or even a slight deficit number and why you're not making progress. A lot of people think that they're doing a lot of these things, and it really feels like you're working hard. But, and this is after taking thousands of calls with athletes and looking at nutrition, when we zoom out, it feels like a lot of work, but we're probably not being as consistent as you think you are. You're not eating as frequently as you should be. And then we look at certain days, you might be burning an extra 2,000 calories and we're getting in half as many because of a game day. So certain things like that. Bottom line, you're not an enigma. You're not a unicorn. If you're not gaining weight, you're not a calorie surplus. And so the big things too that we focus on with guys that are hard gainers, liquid calories. So this is something that people that eat healthy have a hard time with initially, is that we just want to try to eat as healthy as possible by doing a lot of whole food. But the reality is, if you are a hard gainer, liquids can be a great starting point for you. It's not going to get you all the way to the finish line with your goal, but for starting the process and getting you those first couple of pounds and getting your appetite trained, liquid calories can be a big win. Protein frequency, and this is just meal frequency overall. You can't just be doing this with 2 to 3 meals a day. Honestly, if you are a busy athlete that has a ton of workload, you're practicing, playing, training, active, more than an hour per day, if that's fallen above 2 hours, you need to have frequent intake, right? If you're going to be an elite athlete, if you're training like an elite athlete, you need to start fueling like an elite athlete. And so 2, 3 meals per day is not getting the job done. You need 4 to 6 feedings per day of protein and honestly meals and snacks overall to keep up with the demand, and especially with carbohydrates, so that you don't have to get to the end of the day and have to consume 2,000 calories in one meal, because again, that's not sustainable. You're not going to stick with that for the long term. It's going to leave you too full. Carb timing makes a big difference for a lot of guys as well. So it makes the job easier. If we're timing your carbohydrates around your activity, around your training windows, for one, from a muscle gain and weight gain perspective, you are going to be giving yourself a better environment to train. You're going to have more endurance, more output, more from the weight room. So you're going to build more muscle as a byproduct of that, but also carbs are recovery, right? And you're not going to gain muscle mass if you're not eating carbs. And this is honestly a bigger problem for most guys than protein, is under eating carbohydrates, right? You're not going to gain 20 plus pounds by not eating carbs. So it doesn't matter how much protein you eat. That's just the reality. And so putting these things around there, especially like faster digesting carbohydrates, again, going back to liquids, but then things like Carbolin. This is a big thing that we utilize with our athletes, is being able to get a slow, steady trickle of calories and carbs, especially from liquids throughout the course of the day, especially while you're active, when most guys are not consuming any calories for 2 to 4 hours. And then appetite is a skill. So whenever we bring somebody in the program, we don't start with the hardest thing. We don't start with the most intense thing. Just like you're not going to go to the gym and put 500 pounds on the squat bar on day number 1, you probably shouldn't start out with the most extreme approach with your nutrition, which is what most guys do, right? They try to go straight to 4,000 calories. You've got to train your gut and your digestion and your appetite just like you would your body in the weight room. What you're doing on day number 1 is not the same thing you're going to be doing on month number 3, because you're going to have more capacity. You're going to be in better shape. Your body is going to recognize the stimulus and get stronger from that. Same thing with your eating, right? The more that you're consistently increasing your food, using the right types of food so that you're hungry between each meals, and also using things that stimulate your appetite, you are actually going to start getting hungrier, right? I was the person that ate 2 big meals a day and felt like I was doing a lot of work and felt super full. But when I gained those 52 pounds in 1 year, I got up to the point of eating 8 times per day. And that was a skill that was acquired by training my gut, my appetite, my digestion. So some things that can hold you back: caffeine. And especially for a lot of guys that are under eating, we tend to rely on caffeine or stimulants because you don't have a ton of energy. You don't have a ton of real energy that's coming from food because you're under recovering and you're under eating. But the thing with that too is that caffeine is going to blunt your appetite. So there's times and places for even guys that are hard gainers to be using caffeine, mainly during the in-season when you really need to perform. But if you have a goal this summer, this off-season of putting on 10 plus pounds, anything that is going against that, whether it's a lack of sleep, whether it's caffeine consumption that could be blunting your appetite, is going to be working against you for just getting in the amount of food that you need per day. So whether it's coffee, whether it's a pre-workout and an energy drink, if you're abusing those things and using it to make up for a lack of energy, it could also be holding you back from your appetite. So that's where we want to get real energy from things like carbohydrates, from electrolytes, from enough salt to make up for that. We've had guys like Cruz Payne who came to the program. He put on 40 pounds during his time with us. He went from 2 energy drinks per day kind of a guy to 0 caffeine within 2 months of doing that, because voila, when you actually eat right, you actually have real energy that's coming from nutrients and from your food. And so your body starts reacting and operating at a higher level. But some other things here from a liquid calorie perspective, because again, we want to start with some baseline things. First, you can get more optimal as you go along through this process. We got to prime you, usually starting with liquid calories, and then we can grow more into whole food options. But rule 1, clean gainer. So these are mass gainers. They've came a long way. We're going to get better digestion from a lot of these newer, updated mass gainer supplements. So these are things that have protein, but also an added carb and fat source to them, which just makes it easy to swap in for a meal or for a snack without us having to eat whole food. Carbolin, again, like I mentioned, we utilize a various amount of different carbohydrate supplements with our guys. Carbolin tends to be a good one because it's high calorie and high carb. And it can be something when we don't feel super hungry, we can get that in for a carbohydrate source, get a couple hundred calories in, but also, you know, if you're getting done with practice and you need to start that recovery process right away, it also is something that we can just slam down without having to wait to get a whole meal or go get a snack. You can take that powder with you anywhere, fill it up with water, and then you're good to go. Orange juice and Greek yogurt shake. So this is honestly a staple for a lot of guys that don't have an appetite, or if we hit these periods where life is busy, your schedule is busy, we need to swap something in that's easy digested because, yogurt's a quality source of protein. You got probiotics in there. You're getting some good nutrients, some calcium. And honestly, orange juice is one of the better things that you can be putting in place for a bulking athlete, for a guy that's trying to put on muscle mass. And the combination of those two, it tastes good. It's easy to take with you different places, and you can drive up some calories by putting those things in place. Fairlife chocolate milk. Fairlife because it's got more protein per cup compared to regular chocolate milk, and also lactose free. So if you do have a lactose intolerance, Fairlife is just something we usually opt for with our guys to get in an extra amount of protein, some carbs that are also in that chocolate milk, and then it's going to be easier on the digestion because it is lactose free as well. So some other things, convenient calorie boosters. So we want to look at density of your calories in each meal, not just adding on more meals for doing that. So this can also go for snacks. So an Uncrustable sandwich. Easy couple hundred calories for a young athlete that's just starting out on this journey to get in a few hundred calories without it seeming like a task, because it's processed. So you're going to be able to put it down, and it's going to be a lot easier than eating 300 calories from a potato, right? Fairlife Core Power Shakes, super convenient, easy and ready to go things for getting in some protein. Olive oil drizzle, so that's a density move. We can add in olive oil to pretty much anything that you cook. We can add in honey to your smoothies, your protein shakes, doing things like that. The other thing too is training your appetite. There are some things that you can do to increase your appetite that can be super helpful. So for one, fish oil. Omega-3s. Most guys don't get enough fish oil, omega-3s, or fatty fish from salmon in general. Supplementing with omega-3s, particularly a high DHA fish oil, will increase your appetite. The one Dorito rule. So, this is kind of funny, but have you ever been able to just eat one Dorito? Probably not. You can't just sit down and eat one chip. If you do that, though, between your meals, you are going to increase your appetite, so that from meal to meal you're going to become hungrier, and you're going to be able to put down some food with a Dorito or a chip that's going to stimulate. They know what they're doing when they're creating Doritos or a chip. Then that's going to help you be hungrier by the time your next meal comes up by triggering saliva and digestive enzyme production. So also getting active. Taking a little walk right after your meals can help with you not being as full between meals, eating your carbohydrates first, and rotating different things in there, right? This can't be something that seems like a task right from the get-go. So add in variety, use sauces, use textures to make the job as easy as possible. And then, going into some more advanced things, your consistency trains your hunger response. So ghrelin is a hunger hormone, just like, there's things like testosterone and estrogen. You have hormones that are dictated by, or that dictate your hunger response. So the more consistent that you are with the timing and eating during the day at these exact times, the more that you're going to have a natural ghrelin response. And that's how I was able to go from 2 times a day to eating 8 times per day within a year, is training that ghrelin response. You can also impact your digestion, so how fast things move through your digestion, how well it does digest, so it's not just sitting there and you start building up and you're full from meal to meal. A lot of athletes in general tend to undereat sodium. So salt can increase your appetite as well. So put in more salt, put in things like soy sauce onto your meals, onto your rice. Get more salt in general on top of your meals with seasonings, or using things like electrolyte supplements can also help with stimulating your appetite as well. And your appetite, most people don't think about this, is really reliant on your micronutrient intake. So things like zinc and magnesium, they regulate your appetite, right? They regulate hormones like cortisol, which is a stress hormone. If that's too high, it's going to be lowering your appetite down. So things like micronutrients, your sleep, and then your environment really dictate how well you're going to be able to stick to things and your appetite response. So we got some examples of how you would structure out a meal. But, some notes of what you can do. Pre-training is always a big thing for us. We always want to be fueling before, during, and then after any activities to make sure we're getting more calories in while we are burning more. Rest days, we still want to keep density up. This is something where guys tend to slack, whether it's a weekend, if you're sleeping in, if you're just not going to be doing as many things, we tend to slack off on getting as many calories in when we have an off day that is not our typical regular schedule with activity. But that's the day where you probably should be consuming more and you're able to bring your average calories to that surplus range. And then on those low calorie days, we're after progress here, not perfection. So these are the times when we do want to be, swapping in some more convenient options. We want to be adding in things that, maybe not the most ideal on paper, but they are going to help us still get the job done, right? If we need to swap in a Pop-Tart every once in a while, I'd rather have guys eating more times than not. So don't skip on meal frequency, even if it is not the most quality thing. So recapping that, guys, appetite is a skill. It's something that you develop. It's something that you train just like anything else. You are not an anomaly. It's not just your genetics. You're just not doing the right things. There's a ton of things that go into this picture. If you are curious about getting some help with this, where you just have all the guesswork taken out of it, schedule a call with us down below. Right? Like, share, and comment on this video if you found it helpful. Take some of these principles in the video and get your journey started. If you need some help getting to the finish line for that, because a lot of these things that we talked about, they're going to get you started. You can go gain 3 to 5 pounds, but if you want to actually get to the finish line where this translates onto the field for you, you maintain all this progress and it helps you with getting to the next level, getting more exposure, we are here to help with our Game Time nutrition system. So schedule a call with us down below, complimentary. We will break down everything that's going on with your current diet, personalized to you. Look at your sleep, look at your supplementation, be able to tell you exactly where you're missing the boat right now, and then show you our system if it feels like you would like additional guidance during this process. But again, guys, thanks for watching this video, and we will